Hello and welcome to Belgrade on another sunny afternoon. So today's walk is gonna have a sporty feel to it. 18 degrees today, lots more people out on the street. All that's missing is the tables and chairs to come out and the bars to be open and a bit of music to play, and it'll be pretty much back to normal. So yesterday I did 17,700 or so steps. That's just under 11 kilometers. So I'll be trying to beat that today. Ankles were sore yesterday, so I've got a bit of better footwear on for today's walk. Still the big shops aren't open, but body shops reopened, little shoe shops are open. Saying that, the Apple shop is open, and if you need a new washing machine, now's the time. So if the sound's a bit different, I've changed from a surgical mask to a bandana. Looking a bit like adamant. The British Embassy. Looking rather smart. Some delivery going on there. And it being St. George's Day, has the English flag up next to the Union Jack. There's a delivery. So just over the road there used to be a really imposing stone building. I think it was a ministry, and it was hit, I think, by 2 cruise missiles, and it wasn't really in that bad a shape. It had 2 little chunks taken out of it by these missiles, and stood like that for a long time, well, since 99, up until about a year or so ago, when it was just 1 minute it's there, second it's disappeared. And in its place is that, the Belgrade Skyline Tower. So this is just by the big junction of Mostar, by the Gazela Bridge. Now the road going over the bridge goes towards the airport and on towards the border with Croatia, Slavonia, and further towards Zagreb. Ahead of me on the right is the old mill, which is now a hotel, and on the left here it looks derelict and abandoned, but it is in fact the BIP Belgrade brewery, and it's just had all its advertising taken down for some reason. There was an incident of some leakage of ammonia or something that was in the news a few weeks ago, so I don't know what's happening with that, but it's a good location, so could go anyway. And in the distance there's a little clue to where I'm heading. A little pan around the medical center there on the hill. Belgrade waterfront. In the distance, Ušće Towers, and further away is the Kapija, the gate of Belgrade. Railway bridge and the new bridge over the Ada in the distance. So this boulevard here is actually called Vojvoda Putnik Boulevard. Now Vojvoda Putnik, one of the heroes of the First World War, and he is commemorated here by a bust. Now (1847) 1917. I think he's worthy of a more magnificent statue. Just carrying on up the hill. And just to the left, before Hyde Park, is the new Belgrade Central Station. Just making my way into Hyde Park. Seems to be open. It's good to get away from the cars and traffic for a bit, but walking around town, it feels very, very normal. It's like all that's past seems like we've all been part of a bad film. So just outside of Hyde Park is the Museum of the History of Yugoslavia. The top of the hill. And behind the museum is the House of Flowers, the resting place of former Yugoslav President Josip Broz Tito and Madam Tito, Jovanka Broz. Now the door is open at the museum. So here's the first sporting landmark. Stadion Partizan. I want to try and nip down here to see what this statue is. Looks like a relay race. Okay, that looks like the corporate entrance. Now, the stadium used to be called Stadion JNA, so the Yugoslav National Army Stadium. I think I saw 1 or 2 games there. It was taken by my uncle back in the 80s. He was a Partizan fan. Now I don't know, but if it's this road up here or the one around the other side, but it's named after Dragan Mance, the player who died in a car crash in the 80s. Now I actually saw him play in a European match against my local team, QPR, in London at Highbury Stadium. The only time I've ever been to Highbury. And the reason it was played there is because QPR at the time had AstroTurf, so they had artificial grass, and UEFA didn't allow that to didn't allow the match to be played, on that surface. So they played at Highbury, and I was there, and he scored a blinding goal, Dragan Mance, and he's a Partizan legend. And I think I still have the match day program at home somewhere. So QPR won that game. Whoops. But then I think came back here and ended up getting knocked out. So if you live on a higher floor in one of these buildings, you could probably watch the game from your terrace, from your balcony. It's a bit like those that tall building at Wimbledon that overlooks everything, or a long time ago the big block of flats on the Fulham Road by Stamford Bridge. So coming up to what once was called the Maracana Stadium, had pretty close to 100,000 capacity before it became all seating. The tank, famous tank that was put up recently. All right. With the Svetog Sava Cathedral in the distance. Yeah, the tank. Wow. Just a little section there. Maracana Stadium. Capacity now probably under 50,000 due to the seating. Let's see if I can get a glimpse inside there. Maybe a little one. No? Maybe a bit of the pitch. All right, okay, yeah, there it is. That is where the current champions of Europe lost. In the qualifiers on their way to the title. Last time I was in there was the Arsenal game, I think the season before, the Liverpool match. It's quite something, this stadium. It's a real throwback to the 80s in the UK, in English football. This is where you come up on match days. And that's what awaits you. The cauldron of Maracana. Or these days, Stadium Rajko Mitic. So, coming up from the stadiums, there's a sign here saying that this is where our heroes are working in the hospital for infectious diseases. So it was falling apart, in all honesty. Obviously came into the spotlight and has already been rendered, I think, the walls in express time. So the focus is on it, the spotlights come on it, and things get done. So that's the front line in the fight against the corona disease. So I'm back on Republic Square after that pretty long walk. The feet are a bit sore, but I do feel good about it. Now, this was the first ever video that I filmed for YouTube. It is a work in progress. I'm just using my crappy iPhone and a lapel mic. The sound will get better, the video will get better over time. And just like a good wine, it matures with age. So join me next time on a new stroll around the city. Till then, let me quote comedy heroes from the not too distant past. It's good night from him, and it's good night from me. Good night.